Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch One, and thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at the Karl F. Bucherer Patravi T-24, 36 millimeters wide by 46 millimeters lug to lug, stainless steel, both brushed and polished. This is a dual-time men's reference utilizing Karl F. Bucherer's distinctive take on the tonneau case. Now, many tonneau cases can be a little bit more fluid, perhaps a little bit less masculine than this one, and that's where Karl F. Bucherer really distinguishes itself with this Patravi T-24 because each of the elements, the case itself, the bezel, the separate lugs, and the crown guard are designed to express themselves individually, adding extra character, articulation, and strength to this unique take on the tonneau fashion. Now I'm going to put it on my wrist, and the first thing you notice is just how well it fits. Ergonomically, it's a triumph. 46 millimeters lug to lug. It does away with the occasional anxiety with the tonneau, which is that it's going to wear much, much larger than its nominal size. It can sometimes be difficult when a watch is not round to get a sense of just how big it is on the wrist. So my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, is actually pretty much below average for most guys, but it's average in profile. Flat across the top, roughly oval in cross-section. You could easily wear this watch down to even slightly below a 5.5-inch circumference wrist, and a big part of that is the case itself. Now I'll get into its aesthetic elements in a moment. I just want to talk about ergonomics for a second. The lugs are close coupled, and you can see that best from this angle. They barely extend beyond the edge of the case, and they give the strap a head start on curving around the wrist so that it doesn't want to flare out and extend the case, but rather can get right to the business of looping down and around the flanks of your arm. Very nice fit, comfortable, spreads its mass well, and as you can see, only 11 millimeters thick. It sits nice and low, with a sloping crystal and a sloping bezel with tumble home off to the side from the top of the sapphire to the edge of the case. Easily accommodates a dress cuff. But it does have a visual strength to it that allows it to work as a sports watch as well, and a casual timepiece. Again, more on that in a moment, but first I want to complete our overview of the ergonomic aspects, the fit, as I like to say. Contrasting stitch, heavily bolstered alligator. It's bolstered near the lug, so where it abuts the case, it's got mass so that visually it tapers slowly away from the metal mass of the case as it gradually becomes a very supple and very flexible end that's able to snake around the underside of your wrist with comfort. Now it is calf skin on the bottom, so everything that touches the wrist is calf, not gator. Gator on the top for durability, calf on the bottom for comfort. And it has a unique deployant clasp. Now it has both brushed and polished contrasting finishes for a high quality upscale look, and of course the twin triggers that I like for the sake of security, but it's got another trick up its sleeve. Very clean aesthetically, a seamless strap, which is to say the excess of the strap is actually tucked in underneath the fold of the deployant, so what you wind up seeing is just one half and the other half. There are no strap minder loops, there's no excess and awkward unused portion of the strap, there's nothing dangling or flipping out. It's very clean, reads just as clean as a bracelet, but with the comfort and easy adjustability of a strap. It's also nice to have for summertime, and we're definitely getting there here in South Florida, because it feels cool on the wrist. It doesn't channel heat into the wrist like metal can on a hot day. Now aesthetically, you've already gotten a taste. Let me give you a feast. This watch breaks up the traditional soft tonneau form with a multi-layered polished and brushed bezel with sharp, hard-defined edges. This is not the fluid, silky tonneau look that you associate with Frank Mueller. This is more of a masculine tonneau. It's got the flank that flows in beautiful polished steel, but then there's a contrasting, almost a budding junction between the lugs themselves where each one flares out to be visually distinct from the case. And that visual distinction means that the lugs read as separate elements, not mere extensions of the case. Now there is brushing on the top, polishing on the side, and a gorgeous rounded chamfer between the two, so the attention to detail is excellent. Now like I said, the bezel, highly articulated, sharp corner edges, both brushed and polished elements. It's a bi-level stepped bezel, so it gives it even more visual strength still as you move across it to these crown guards. Again, they read as separate elements, and crown guards on a tonneau case, they're just kind of unusual. That's not something you see too often, and it really emphasizes how this watch was designed to be a little bit stronger, a little bit sportier, have a little bit more of an assertive presence on the wrist. This is not a dress piece. This is really a versatile two-way player with 5 ATM water resistance. You're not going to go diving with this one, but it definitely has more than the 3 ATM splash resistance of your standard dress watch. And Carl F. Bucherer adds another element that makes this really a full-time companion, and that is a second time zone. So the CFB 1953 movement in here is automatic. It has a 42-hour power reserve. It has an independent second time zone, which is displayed on the sub-register at 12 o'clock, hacking seconds, so when you pull the crown, you can in fact stop the balance and set the watch precisely to a reliable travel timer, an atomic clock, your cell phone, your buddy's watch, whatever you like. The bottom line is it allows for precise synchronization. You also feature a date window, a jump date at 3 o'clock, and that's keyed to the local time on the hands at center. It's also got an element that you wouldn't expect on a traditional dress watch, which is abundant lume. Each of these applied hour indices features outboard lume, and both of the hands, broadsword style, feature very generous lumed elements, diamond polished. They're high reflective, so very visible against this anthracite backdrop. At night, they're just as visible thanks to the lume, and that's not something you see on most tonneaus because, again, most tonneau watches are designed as dress watches. So you've got a useful complication in the second time zone, the everyday complication in the date, hacking seconds for precision, automatic winding, but you also have a convenient and nicely hidden, almost stealthy power reserve at 6 o'clock. It's an element that blends into the dial more than the contrasting guillochade second time zone subdial at 12. But whereas that's designed to be prominent, this is designed to be discreet and useful, noticeable only when you really want to see it. So you can see as I wind the watch, the power reserve swings further and further towards the 7 o'clock index. And you can really see how practical that can be. If you're using this watch for international travel, you want to make sure that all of your reference times are spot on, and Carl F. Bucherer does that with the power reserve. I'll show you the case back, because I always get questions about the case backs of solid case back watches. It's nicely finished. It's got the Carl F. Bucherer logo. It has a notice of 50-meter water resistance and the Patravi model line. There is contrasting finish, vertically brushed. It's polished around the periphery, so it's nicely done, but it's not the main event. The main event is the dial, and the main event is the case. Again, this is a tonneau for men. I think it's safe to say that with the combination of complications, white metal, the dark dial, the dark gaiter, the strength of these case lines, automatic winding, and of course this clever seamless deployant strap, this watch really has everything you need in a dress watch, in a casual watch. It's ready for just about anything short of ice spelunking or deep diving. So if you want to see a watch that has a little bit of an unconventional shape, but does the unconventional in brilliant fashion, you want to check out this Carl F. Bucherer Patravi T-24, 36 millimeters wide, 46 millimeters lug to lug in stainless steel on our website, Watch You Want.